Hey there, I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. I'm excited about today. We're going to be talking about some fun stuff. Let's start with a meditation. If you can just find yourself comfortable in your chair and close your eyes and just begin to breathe slowly, gently, deeply in through your nose. And as you do that, know that you're breathing pure grace. Pure grace, which is the energy and the wisdom of the universe. And that energy and wisdom of the universe, that pure love, is flowing into you and blessing you and relaxing you and healing you right now. Continue to breathe that juice, that sweet, sweet nectar in through your nose. Let it flood through your system, awakening each cell and causing it to come into absolute joy with all the other cells. So they're all singing in harmony. All of your 100 billion, 100 trillion cells singing in harmony, making your body whole, perfect, and complete. And as you sink deeper and deeper and deeper into that sea of grace, into that sea of quiet joy, find yourself being surrounded by a warmth that is the presence of the great creative mind. It is pure love, love for you, love inside of you, pure love. You're being enveloped by love. All of the sensations that you're feeling right now in your body, all of them are love. There is only love. Stay with me now. Stay with me as you swim deeper and deeper into that sea of grace, and know that your whole life is blessed and that it's unfolding exactly the way it's supposed to, and that you are exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment in time. your pure peace. You are loved and blessed and safe and free right now. And when you come back to us, bring this beautiful self with you, because this is truly who you are. Everything else is illusion. So when you're ready, come back. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with me. Gosh, I've got some really wonderful things to talk to you about today. Wonderful things. Because today is the first day of Advent. And doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or you follow any of the Christian teachings, but this is the season of Christmas. And it's celebrated as the birth of Jesus. But of course, Jesus was actually born in the spring. So this isn't actually his birthday, but it doesn't matter whether you believe in Christianity or not. This is the season of love. This is the season of joy. I remember when I was a little boy that our world was difficult. It was filled with a lot of problems. We went going through the Second World War, and there was just a lot of stuff going on. But when Christmas came, somehow the adults all changed. Somehow something happened, something magical happened. And they begin to look at each other and smile at each other, and they begin to talk with a different tone of voice. It was really exciting. And Christmas has always been that time when there's a specialness in the air that you can just breathe. And it starts like today with the first day of Advent. And today we're going to talk about the subjects for today are hope and faith. And isn't that interesting? Because we have to have hope and faith, because the nature of creation, the nature of the creator itself is change. That's the nature. Everything's changing. I mean, even a rock sitting in your garden is changing. Everything's changing. The universe is changing. The universe is spreading out and moving apart faster and faster. And there's new galaxies being formed and new stars being formed, and you have trillions of cells in your body that are being rebuilt, uh, and there's other ones that are being sloughed off even as we're sitting here talking. That's going on. Thousands of cells are dying and being replaced. Everything's changed, but we resist change, don't we? We don't want change. I don't want to move. I like my house. I don't want to move. I don't want to get rid of my car. I like this car. And all of a sudden, my neighbor who I've become really close to is moving away, or something else is changing. My job's changing, or somebody I'm working with is changing, or something's always happening. Somebody's dying. Somebody's being born. And we have to be willing to change. But see, sometimes change is painful, because sometimes it's a sickness or a bad diagnosis, or sometimes somebody that you really love passes away. So sometimes change can be painful. Sometimes you get sick and you have to go through a painful time of sickness. But the thing that gets us through is hope and faith. And I say hope and faith because you have to have them both, don't you? Because hope without faith is just fantasy. I mean, just imagine that. To hope for what? To hope for what? And even if you hope for something, like if you're really hoping for that, and you don't have faith that it can come true, boy, then it's just fantasy. And faith without hope, faith in what? You have to have faith in something. So the two of those go together so beautifully. They're a matched pair. So we know that part of change is to be able to recognize that sometimes less fortunate times or times that are going to be a little bit maybe more stressful are coming. Like the cold of winter after a pleasant summer and a warm autumn, um, that's change is coming. But many of the plants and the trees we rely on for food have to have that cold winter, don't they? Blueberries, kiwis, garlic even, and nut trees, they need the cold. They need the cold. Plums, peaches, nectarines, apples, figs, cherries, apricots, persimmons, pears, pomegranates, all of those have to have cold winters, or they don't put on blossoms and then they don't put on fruit. And that's where faith and hope exist. There will always be a spring. Every springtime is a fulfillment of the promise made last autumn, isn't it? But only with hope and faith can we get through the dark winters of our hearts. Only with hope and faith. And we have to be willing to have hope and faith. So we must never lose hope or never lose faith. And when we think of the negatives in our lives, we must not think of them with distaste or with despair, because without negatives, there wouldn't be positives, could there? I mean, they're relative to each other. And then we know there's going to be cold winters of the heart, dark nights of the soul, but there's always a new morning coming, isn't there? And we must have strong attitudes at hand to deal with those challenges, particularly when they're really painful. So hope and faith form our lifeline. And we need them both at once, because hope without faith and and faith without hope, they're meaningless. So tomorrow doesn't really exist, does it? Like we're here right now. This is the moment we're in. This is where the pen of our life touches the page. This is right now. This is it. Tomorrow doesn't exist. So tomorrow will be a miracle. If it comes, it'll be a miracle. It's not automatic. It has to be created. All this stuff has to happen that'll be tomorrow. Its existence will be a miracle. And how it comes into existence and the elements it contains will depend upon our attitudes today. So tomorrow depends on today. You know, Congressman Gabrielle Giffords, God bless her, was shot in the head in an assassination attempt. But she didn't die. It was a long, long road back for her. And she said, after that, she said, hope and faith. You have to have hope and faith. And Mahatma Gandhi, that dear little man saved his country through his courage and his dedication to peace. He said, I claim to be no more than the average person with average or less than average ability. I have not the shadow of doubt that any man or woman can achieve what I have, if he or she would just make some effort and cultivate the same hope and faith. Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker, certainly agreed with Gandhi and with Giffords when he said, whatever happens, do not lose hold of the two main ropes of life, hope and faith. He called them the ropes of life. And that's exactly how important they are. You know, Thomas Edison, guy who invented light bulbs, said many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. So do you have a special dream you want to come true? I hope you do. How firmly do you believe it? How firmly do you believe it'll happen? You see, The thing that keeps us from having hope and faith, true hope and true faith, I mean, to keep it from just being fantasy, just a wish, because a wish is not a hope. A wish is just silliness. But to have hope combined with faith. So a lot of times we have dreams. We think, God, it'd be really great to be this or to do that or to have that. But, I don't deserve that, or I'm too tall or too short or too old or too young, or I'm female instead of male or male instead of female, or too fat or too skinny or too uneducated or too something. So we don't let ourselves have faith. We don't let ourselves really hold ourselves in our hopes. So I want you to have the ability to transfer your wishes into hopes today, because otherwise your self-doubt will cripple you. And self-doubt's a dreadful disease, and it squashes our ability to have what we want. So if you have self-doubt, let's move beyond it. Let's challenge it. Let's say, no, that's not me. Instead, let's have hope, and let's have faith, and let's have a vision, a clear vision of that which we want to create. A clear vision of it. Have the courage to have a clear vision and to hope for it, to actually put your faith together with your hope and say, yes, that will happen. And you just have to really have that faith, and you really have to have that hope. And our lesson today just doesn't come from the world leaders that I just quoted. It comes from other people as well. Jewel, the young singer and composer who's already sold over 30 million songs, tells us that faith and hope are the antidote for self-doubt. Stay actively involved in manifesting your dreams, and the world created will be one you want to live in. Isn't that cool? Isn't that wonderful to hear that from a young person? And Arthur, the author Thornton Wilder, and he's just an incredible author and a great mind. And he totally agrees with Jewel. He said, there's no creation without faith and hope. And there's no faith and hope that does not express itself in creation. So for those of you who are artists, whether you're singers, actors, dancers, painters, sculptors, writers, whatever you're doing, if you're an artist, you know that the creation that you're making comes from faith and from hope. That's how it just demonstrates itself. Norman Cousins, who interfaced with Nikita Khrushchev to help President Kennedy prevent a nuclear war from breaking out during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And he was the man who also healed himself from a deadly disease by laughing, by laughter. And then he taught millions of us to do the same thing. And Norman Cousins said, we have to develop the confidence and the ability to feel love, hope, and faith, and to acquire a strong will to live. See, I believe his ability to reach out and help others was only a part of why he was so effective in helping President Kennedy and healing himself. He was charitable. He was a charitable man. And in being so, not only did he heal himself, he helped prevent one of the world's worst catastrophes. Benjamin Franklin said that hope and faith may be firmly built upon charity. More firmly built upon charity than charity is built upon hope and faith. And I can tell you that when you're down and out, or when you're down, I should say, you can prevent yourself from being both down and out by just taking care of someone else. If you can just give love, You can still have a healing richness running through you that'll bring you back into the light. I was recently in the hospital, and in the middle of the night, a nurse came in and she said, I'm going to change your IV. So she took out the IV and she said, I'm going to insert the needle into a vein and get a new IV. And she tried to get a needle into a vein. It went right through the vein into the muscle. And she was nervous, and I could see that she was. And it was painful, of course. And so then she took the needle and she tried again, and then she tried again. And each time she missed the vein, or the vein rolled out, or she went through the vein into the muscle or whatever. And finally she said, I'm not going to do this. I give up. I'm going to go get someone else to do this. So she left the room. And after about 10 minutes, she came back. She said, I'm going to try again. I'm going to try on the other arm. So she went around the bed to the other arm. And I said to her, and I'm not going to use her real name because I don't want to embarrass her, but I said to her, Krista, I believe in you. She looked at me. She said, you believe in me? And I said, I do. I believe in you. I believe in you. You can do this. And so she put the needle in, and it went into the vein. And I said, you're in. I could feel that it was in, because although, might not be able to feel it in the vein, but I can promise you, you feel it when it misses the vein. So I said, you're in. I said, and she said, she taped it all up and she said, you believed in me. I said, I believe in you. She said, wow, you believed in me. And she left the room. Well, I think maybe it changed her evening, or it brought her back to confidence. But for me, it brought back that richness of love that was running through me, and it brought me back into feeling the light again. So I needed that. The incredible British novelist Sophie Hannah said, you can always and easily give someone the gift of hope and faith, even in the midst of despair. And Warren Bennis, who changed the world by helping transform the art of leadership from a dictatorial kind of leadership into a democratic leadership, Mr. Bennett said, we must each possess the Nobel factor, possess and constantly demonstrate optimism, faith, and hope, because they create choices. He said, I'm reminded of this ancient Chinese proverb. The birds of worry and care fly above your head. This you cannot change. But that they build nests in your hair, this you can prevent. So you can prevent the birds of worry and care from building nests in your hair. And you can do this by having faith. Takes self-discipline, though, doesn't it? It's so easy for us to become victims. So easy to be a victim when everything seems dark and endless, and maybe you've been trying for a long time, something you've been trying for a long time, and it just seems like it's not working out. But if you have hope, and hold on to that hope, let it be a vision. And if you have faith, trust, that's the other word for faith. If you have a vision and trust in that vision, then those will carry you through, and you will create that which you seek. You will, because you're a creator. You're an incarnation of that great beloved mind that is the creator of all universes. You're the incarnation of that. You have within you the ability to create what you want. Now, today, you can do it. Those people who I've mentioned and I've quoted, great people that have done miraculous things, none of them are more than you. As Gandhi said, with hope and faith, you can easily do everything he did. There's nothing you can't accomplish. There's nothing you can't create, can't bring into being. If you're willing to have faith and you're willing to keep your hopes alive and not give up on yourself and not give up on this blessed universe that is, and when I say this blessed universe, you might think I'm talking about all the planets and rocks and stuff and the trees and all of that stuff. And I am, because the created is the creator. That's the creator. That's the body of the creator. Is you, your body. Is this planet that we live on, is the wind that blows, it's the laughter of a child, it's the tear in someone's eyes. That is God. And if you can have faith in that powerful presence and faith in yourself as an incarnation of that, there is nothing you cannot attain. So have hope and faith. Even when we can't see the future that we're working for, keep that going. Marianne Williamson, who I have such admiration for, bless her heart, she's running for president again. You know, she's just one of us. She's just one of us. She's just a great person. She believes in life. She believes in love. She believes in herself. And she said, hope, to me, hope and faith are imperative. I have hope and faith in the unseen. To me, hope is an imperative. I have hope and faith in the unseen, And some people need to have things proven to them before they can have hope and faith. They have to have something shown to them. But you and I don't, because that's what creation is. Creation is not knowing by seeing, it's knowing by believing. It's not knowing by seeing, it's knowing by believing. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you so much. Gosh, this is a great season, a season of hope and faith, a season of joy, a season of Christmas. Let the blessings flow into your heart. Let your heart open. And if you have any doubts at all about that, be willing to give your love away. Give it away actively. Lift people up around you, and you will be lifted up. Thank you again. If this message has been good for you today, would you do me a favor? Would you go to bobtrask.com and leave a donation? I'd sure appreciate it. Helps us keep this weekly reset going. So bless you. And if you can stick around for a while, we're going to have a little conversation. We're going to have a chance to talk to each other. If you have to go, if you have to run, I understand. Then go with my blessings, and I'll see you next week.